Hey there, welcome to LSAT Demon Daily. I'm Eric Johansson, a teacher with LSAT Demon. With me is Nathan Fox, co-founder of LSATdemon.com and the weekly podcast Thinking LSAT. Today, an email from Matt.
Says, I've been with the Demons since January after scoring a 161 diagnostic. This was
Nice.
with the games, but I believe still indicative of my potential. I have T14 aspirations, and my goal is 175 plus, which I know, in all caps, I know I can achieve. Cool. Yeah. 161 diagnostic, whether it was, I mean, unless it was 100% on games and you really sucked on everything else, that's even in that case, it still indicates that you're pretty good at reading, pretty good at comprehending, pretty good at answering questions.
I'm still putting my money on you to score 175 plus.
I agree. Yeah. However, says Matt, I've found my progress to be extremely stagnant. My studying was very, again, all caps, on and off until June, but since then I've been very consistent. Regardless, my scores still vary between 165 and 172, and my timed sections average -3 or 4 on reading comp and -2 or 3 on LR. Matt doesn't tell us how many questions he's attempting, but I'm pretty sure he's attempting every single one of them.
Probably finishing the sections.
And I think that's probably part of his problem. Matt goes on and says, when I review, I see why my answer is incorrect immediately the vast majority of the time.
That's a red flag to me.
Yeah. That reinforces my hypothesis. You're just not taking each individual question seriously enough. You're shooting for this 175 and it's actually preventing you from getting to 170 consistently.
Yeah.
You gotta walk before you can run. And you do have all the promise in the world. I mean, you've got super high potential, obviously. But you need to slow down a bit and be okay with the idea that you might not finish every question in the section.
Yeah, and if you immediately see your mistake on review, could you have corrected that if you had spent an extra 10 seconds on the question the first time through, if you hadn't been in such a rush to finish the section? Probably. Right.
Yeah, exactly. It seems as if you're just over and over having that head smack moment when you're reviewing, then yeah, it's like, okay, well, the other thing I want to say, so I want to say a couple things here already. I haven't even finished this email yet. Maybe let me finish
Let's finish the email, yeah.
Okay. The gap has been extremely difficult to close, and I find it difficult to avoid rushing and ignore the clock. I'll also admit that ego plays a part, and I don't want to see my score drop by completely giving up on time. Any words of encouragement or advice would be much appreciated. Thanks for all you do at the Demon. Sincerely, Matt. Okay, so you're not giving up completely on the time. You are doing the thing that is going to help you get better at the time, because time management ain't it. Watching the clock is a waste of time. Trying to make it through a certain number of questions in a certain amount of time is a waste of time. You're wasting your cognitive capacity on time management when you could be devoting that to answering the damn question instead. The test is easy, Matt. For someone like you, 161 diagnostic, this test is easy, I promise. But you're right now not really doing it. For every 2 or 3, you're saying you missed 3 or 4 on reading comp. That means that there was another 3 or 4 that you didn't really understand. You just kind of guessed it right. 2 or 3 that you're missing on logical reasoning. That means there's another 2 or 3 that you're not really understanding, but you're guessing it right. And instead, you could be in a world where you just solve these questions and you feel really good about your answers. And your score will go up immediately if you do this, because you'll have 100% accuracy on the questions you've attempted. You'll randomly guess on the ones you don't get to, and you'll get some of those right for free. I think your score goes up today if you do it my way. And I think your score definitely goes up in the long run, because in the long run, you're going to realize how easy the test is. You're going to get in the habit of solving each question. the wrong answers are going to start to look even shittier than they already look to you. And you're just not even going to have a problem with time anymore. Like, this is somebody who could definitely make it to 180 eventually. And yeah,
Yeah.
180 requires finishing all the questions. But you're not going to get there by trying to get the speed part first and then the accuracy. You got to get the accuracy first and then let the speed come to you. When he says, when I review, I see why my answer is incorrect immediately, the vast majority of the time. Okay, that's part of your review. The other part of your review is recognizing why the right answer is right.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe reflecting on, why didn't I pick the right answer that was sitting there right on the page in front of me?
Mm-hmm.
Like, I wish I had a senior partner voice. Like, imagine, like, Matt, you're putting shitty work on the table of the partner above you. They're not going to appreciate that. You got to stop doing shoddy. You're just not doing the work of a lawyer. You're not doing what's going to be demanded of you when you become a lawyer. You might as well just start doing it now. Solve each question one at a time and let the speed take care of itself. What do you want to say?
Well, it made me think. I'm reading this book about lawyers right now, and there was this one in a management position at this government office his underlings would rejoice when they got a memo back. He would just scrawl a couple words in the top right corner of any memo that they put on his desk, and they would rejoice when they got the words "good boy," because that was as much as you would ever get, was just "good boy."
Ew.
Yeah, terrible.
Oh, that is terrible. Exceedingly gross. And that's what they wanted to hear.
That's what they wanted to hear. Yes.
Ugh.
So
yeah, they want it perfect. They do also want it yesterday, but they demand that it's perfect. You're just not going to get away with anything less than perfect.
Yeah. But just, Matt, imagine, if you will, that's what you're striving for. You don't want to get back the memo that says bad boy.
Right.
You don't want the bad boy memo.
Right.
And that's what you earn if you aren't diligent on these questions the first time through. And that's really the main thing, is if you immediately see, oh, yeah, obviously that answer I picked was wrong. I don't accept that that part of you didn't see that when you picked it. Part of your brain, when you picked that answer choice the first time through, was screaming to yourself, no, I don't love this. And you have to listen to that part of your brain that is saying,
right,
I'm not picking a good answer choice right now.
And there might have been also part of the brain that was screaming, hey, there's this other answer. Like, I don't conclusively know why it's wrong. I just, what I think Matt thinks, and because so many students think that it's a test of second bests. Like, they go into the answers going like this, like, well, it could be this one, but it could also be this one. And I don't know. It's like, well, I'm going to pick this one because this one's a little bit better than this one. That ain't it. The wrong answers are conclusively wrong. Wrong answers can be wrong for multiple reasons, even. They're very wrong. And the right answer is the only one that isn't. The right answer actually answers the question based on the record, based on the question that they asked you. It's like legally correct, because the LSAT doesn't want to be sued. They test these questions. They know that there's one right answer and there's 4 wrong answers. It's very rare that they remove an item from scoring. You're just not by the way, on your practice tests, if a question was later found to be flawed for some reason, they have removed it from scoring. It's not on the practice test anymore. So the test, you've got to go into it, Matt, expecting each question to be solvable. Your job is to solve the question, not to narrow it down to 2 and just kind of guess. Your job is to solve it. That's how you're going to get yourself into the 170s consistently. I wanted to give a shout out here to LSAT Demon Master Tutor Carl, who was just recently posting on our teacher Slack, reintroducing himself because he's been here since August of 2020. And he just passed the New York bar after going to actual Yale. And the reason why Carl is relevant here is that Carl, who scored a 179, did not finish his reading comprehension section. Oh, God forbid. Oh, no, you can't be successful on this test if you don't finish. Scoreboard counts the ones you got right. It doesn't count the ones that you didn't get to. Who cares? The ones that you solved are the ones that count. And if you solve enough of them, I mean, that was a 179. Matt's just trying to get to 175 plus, but you do not need to finish. What you do need to do is solve the ones that you're actually going to take the time to attempt. Just remember, you're not giving up forever, but it's going to be helpful for you to give up today. Like, you've got to release, you're not serving two masters at once. You're going to be accurate and you're going to let the time take care of itself. When you start a timed section, I want you to click the clock to turn off the clock. I want that clock to just not be in your head. And if that means that you end up at the 5-minute warning with 5 questions left, okay, don't panic. Bubble in your guesses and then answer one more question, maybe one more question after that. Even in that nightmare scenario, for Matt, I'm sure Matt would be horrified by that. But Matt, if you've got the 20 that you attempted right, you've already got 20 points in the bank.
Right.
If you get 1 or 2 more after the 5-minute warning and you have guesses for the 3 that remain, you're still going to end up at 22.5 points, which is as good as you're doing now.
Mm-hmm. Right. And that's worth saying, because this scenario that Matt imagines where suddenly he stops worrying about the clock and he stops caring about the time.
Yeah.
And then that results in an immediate decrease in his score. That's entirely hypothetical. That has not happened, and it is unlikely to happen.
Yeah.
Based on how Matt's scoring and Matt's skill level. So yeah, that's just a story. That is a fiction that you're telling yourself, Matt. Well, and he might
even go faster. Or I assume he's finishing the sections right now, given his level. But he might, sometimes people at a lower level decide to ignore the clock and they end up doing exactly the same number of questions, or maybe even more. Because what happens is you're getting back 1 or 2% of your brain that is going to be otherwise devoted to checking the clock, managing the clock, doing math, figuring out how much time has elapsed, how many questions you've done, how many questions remaining, how much time remaining. You're doing all this other shit that's not solving the question that you're meant to solve right now.
And also, if you're not worried about the clock, then you might give yourself permission to spend more time reading and understanding the passage, which in turn translates into faster that translates into getting rid of wrong answers quicker.
Exactly. Yeah. That's the place where you're going to get to go fast, is you're going to confidently dismiss wrong answers because you see them for the bullshit that they are. You're going to confidently pick correct answers because that's what it said in the passage. It's like, yeah, or that's the one that actually makes a difference in a logical reasoning argument. And you're going to see those as correct. You're going to see the wrong answers as wrong. You're going to spend far less time juggling those answers around. And that's what's going to make you go fast in the long run. I'm glad Matt wrote in.
Yeah, absolutely. Keep it up, Matt. Focus in on accuracy. It's always about accuracy and diligently solving one question at a time. Yeah, keep that up and you're going to get to that 175 plus.
Email daily@lsatdemon.com if you'd like to ask us a question or share some LSAT or law school admissions news. Thanks for listening.